You're the Superp back with another video, and shame on Warner Brothers for not promoting this movie because I just got out of watching Shazam Fury of the Gods, and I have to say, man, DC is off to a very strong start with 2023 so far. I know some people are going to be kind of mixed with this movie. Some people didn't like the first Shazam movie. Me personally, I feel like it has the most rewatch value, and I like that the Shazam movies have a great blend of comedy, humor, and just also interesting drama that makes it not too kiddie, but also it gets serious when it needs to get serious, something that Marvel lacks in. I will say that this movie was much better than a lot of things that have come out in Marvel in the past couple of years, especially with this being such a much more lower budget than most Marvel movies. They pulled off some interesting effects. Some you can kind of see that it's glaring, that it's not perfect. It's not like mind-blowing, but it is interesting that they're able to pull off such a feat at some times throughout this movie. With that aside, I think I need to kind of get into some spoilers with this movie to kind of get my point across. And yeah, so if you don't want to be spoiled or you haven't seen this movie yet, definitely come back after you get done watching it, because I definitely recommend you checking this out. With that being said, let's talk about this movie because there's a lot going on. Like I said, the trailer does not do this movie justice, in my opinion. So we catch up with pretty much Billy and just his whole family, Freddy, everybody, Mary, everybody's growing up. They're still trying to figure out this whole superpower thing that's going on with them, the power of Shazam, the power that the wizard gave to Billy back in the first one. And I really like that theme of just Billy really struggling to just try to figure this out until the very end, and he really figures out what it means to be a true hero. Same thing with Freddy's character as well. A lot of the family characters get a little bit more shine, a little bit more to do in this whole entire movie, and I really like that, you know what I'm saying? But the antagonists in this movie are the Sisters of Atlas, which this is kind of getting into the realms of what exactly the powers of Shazam is, going more in depth with that and explaining that, how each individual power was stolen. That was really fascinating to me, them building on that lore and how it connects to the Shazam family. Now, the trailer would make you think that there are only two sisters, but there's actually a third one that I did not see coming, and that sister goes by the name of Anne, or Thea. She comes across Freddy's character, and like I said, we get a lot more screen time with Freddy, where he is kind of off doing his own thing. He wants to just, actually be a superhero. He still is very funny in this movie. I liked him in the first one. I'm glad that they gave him more to do, where he comes across the character of Thea, or Anne. I think that's her name, or I forget her whole name or whatnot. But anyways, that aside, I like that. That worked for me. Then we see all the mistakes that Billy made towards the end of the first Shazam come to bite him back with these Sisters of Atlas. You got I'm forgetting the older sister's name off top of my head, but she was an interesting character. Then you had Lucy Liu playing Calypso, which that was really dope. Even though I will say, I think it was a little underused. They could have done a little bit more with her character. But I still like to see her in this, and seeing how all the three sisters had very different motives, because they wanted, the older one wanted revenge for what happened to their father. She felt like the wizard stole her powers and stole her family legacy and all that stuff, and they've been cut off from the magic. So because of Billy snapping that staff, now they were able to cross over to this realm. And like I said, I like that all these characters can acknowledge their weaknesses, but also their strengths, and how they're all working as a team. And I thought that was really cool. And I like where certain things went, where we just kind of see this dragon, and the dragon would look really dope. I think that's where most of the budget went to, is that dragon. You have also unicorns in this, I just like how they just brought this all together, how they have a lot of heartwarming type of moments, and then very dark moments, where there's a scene where Calypso, in the beginning of the film, they go into this museum and they see they see the staff that's split in half, which is interesting. And then you see Calypso pretty much just talking to people, and then all of a sudden they turn into kind of like mindless zombies, and they just kind of pass that. That was a fucking awesome scene. I really liked how this started off, and the action was really dope, especially how Billy is starting to kind of get used to these powers. But they are very overly confident. They're very cocky, and that kind of gets them in trouble sometimes. And Billy realizes, like, I gotta be more mature about how I'm using these powers, even though he's still going to be kind of a kid at the end of the day. But he is starting to kind of make these decisions that are going to help his family, because there are moments where he kind of doesn't feel like he is worthy of these powers, and then he obviously comes to his senses, also gets a dope pep talk from the wizard himself, and just all the people that love him, that are around him. And I feel like the one moment that really almost got me shedding a tear is where you see him having this moment with his foster mother, and that was really dope. And I like that about the first Shazam, where we really dive into how certain things happen to him as a child. Definitely plays effect on him now, and just how he is more trustworthy of these people now, and he embraces them as his family. Really dope shit, man. Really dope. Just character development going on in this movie. I don't know how people are going to feel about the villains. I thought they were pretty menacing. I do think that sometimes they kind of lose it, but I think what they were trying to set up with those villains was, I think it did deliver as far as the stakes, where they wanted to kind of terraform this world using these certain things that they needed to happen, like taking away each individual character's powers and whatnot. And I like their motives, because not all of them had the same motives. They all kind of clashed at times, so that was kind of cool. There is a post-credit scene, but before I talk about the post-credit scene, I know that Warner Brothers put out that clip of Wonder Woman. I don't know why they would do that. That was like a really kind of dope moment, and I'm glad I didn't watch that TV spot. Thought they handled that moment better than, the whole Henry Cavill thing, where it kind of just felt shoehorned in. This felt more natural, because it was already kind of like a running thing earlier on the film, where Billy was dreaming about Wonder Woman, so it kind of made sense that she would pop up. That aside, I don't got too many negatives. Like, I think they could have, like, the only negative I will say is I feel like they could have done a little bit more with these villains. They almost got it, and I think they're going to build up to something with, like, Shazam 3. They definitely set that up with the post-credit scenes, which one of them shows two characters from Peacemaker kind of initiating Shazam into the Justice Society, which now that kind of gives us an idea of what the DCU is going to possibly kind of look like in the future as we get Superman Legacy in 2025. That's going to kick things off, and who knows how The Flash is still going to play in all of this, but it has me more excited to watch The Flash and Blue Beetle and Aquaman, and I can't wait to see what else DC has up their sleeve, because I definitely think that this is a pretty strong start so far. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. If you have seen this movie, what are your thoughts? Negatives, positives, whatever you want to talk about, favorite moments, let me know in the comments below. Till next time, I'm out.